When Klee was out herding the foie cattle with his brothers, he would often bring back a bad report to his father of how the other sons abused the herd and often secretly sold foie gherkins for their own profit. Klee boldly told his brothers that while they were dreaming up ways to avoid work, he was dreaming of being Emperor of Foie. This got on their nerves, and after much plotting they did finally came up with a plan to get rid of Klee. When he came out to the plains of Chopin to check up on them, they grabbed him and sewed him and his fine shorts to the back of a foie bowl. The brothers then traded Klee and the foie bowl to some Chopin pops for some stewed pods. They took these back to Fé and explained that Klee had been trampled in a foie stampede and that the pods were all that was left of their brother. Fé mourned for 88 years the death of his favorite son, Klee. Meanwhile, the Chopin pops, never noticing Klee sewn to the back of their new foie bowl, traded it to the emperor's herdsman for a pack of Geza smokes. Now, an emperor likes a clean herd of foie cattle, so his herdsmen scrubbed the foie cattle daily. While they were scrubbing the new foie bowl that Klee was sewn to, they noticed him crying out and begging to be released. The herdsman released Klee to the custody of Portincipa, the emperor's bodyguard. Portincipa made Klee his butler, and Klee took on the responsibility, much as he did with his father's herd of foie cattle. Portincipa was not home much, what with all the responsibilities of his own job, but when he was home, he did not fail to notice Klee's meticulous care of the house and household matters. He actually did a better job than Portincipa would have done himself. Portincipa would have been jealous, but he enjoyed the spare time too much. In these days, each time Portincipa had been out on one of his many trips away from home with the emperor, his wife, Petenpipa, started making eyes at Klee the way she should only be making eyes at Portincipa. Klee was no fool. He knew what Petenpipa was up to, so he warned her with the warning his mother always used. He said, "If you don't stop making eyes like that, they're going to get stuck that way." Petenpipa could not stand being rejected, so she kept making eyes at Klee, and sure enough, her eyes got stuck. She lied to Portincipa when he came home that night and told him Klee had dressed up like Portincipa just to get her to make eyes at him. Portincipa beat Klee to within a foot span of his life, then threw him into jail. But Quater did not forget Klee. Klee once again prospered because of his faithful conduct. After the jailer beat Klee to within a half-foot span of his life, he put Klee in charge of all the prisoners who were in the jail, so that whatever was done there, he was responsible for it. The jailer did not supervise anything under Klee's charge, because whatever Klee did always prospered. Klee often told the other prisoners the stories of Father and Quater that he had heard as a boy. Then it came about after these things that the emperor's nephew offended the emperor by besting him at liver juggling. The emperor was furious with his nephew, so he took away his status of emperor's nephew, gave it to some guy who happened to be walking by, and put his nephew in confinement in the jail, the same place where Klee was imprisoned. And the jailer put Klee in charge of the emperor's former nephew, and he took care of him, and he was in confinement for some time.